I would. There's a couple actually positive takeaways from my group, but the big thing is Jermichael Stillwell was awesome, and we were not. And word's out in the league, and this is the way you beat us, and we just have not responded. And we are searching for guys that respond. I feel like, obviously our offense gets discombobulated because we're just trying to find somebody who will defend and rebound. And we haven't found it. So search is out. Maybe it lies in California. I don't know. But we got a good old-fashioned ass whooping on the boards. And they were just men and we were boys. And, I think I've really tried my hardest to continue to pump them full of confidence before the game, but I think during the game we get stunned and hit, and it's the same thing on repeat. And then I lose my cool a little bit with them because I just don't understand how they it's there's not a lot of technique to it, okay? And again, I'm not in any way being critical of Milwaukee because they owned us. But it's just guys grabbing you and throwing you out of the way. That's what it is. And I've tried various motivational techniques. I do need to be more positive with them, but that was rough. That was rough. And then, it spirals. They get more and more confident. You're going to hit more shots when you're getting 16 more opportunities. So, we kind of had a plan to put a little zone in, and they hit 3 straight threes. We had one guy who apparently forgot what we had worked on in the zone. So it's going to happen with younger players, but for whatever reason, we're just not responding all that well. Did cut it to 8, I think, in the second half, and I made a couple of subs because a couple of our better players weren't, I thought, one in particular wasn't defending or moving the ball, but we were just a mess. I'd love to paint a pretty picture of it, but that was not pretty.
Doug, when you see getting out rebounded 46 to 22 overall and 22 of 6 on offensive rebounds, and even throughout the whole season, rebounding has been a big issue.
Yeah.
Is that a effort thing? Is it a scheme thing? Is it a size thing? What goes into constantly getting outboarded like that?
It's a very good question. I think early in the year we made the excuse of we're playing small, we're playing markers to the 5. It's going to happen some. We got to cut down on our turnovers to kind of even it out. We got to do a better job. But we played a bigger lineup, and we actually played it pretty well. I mean, part of it was Roy Ilsalka is a great young man, but he completely lost his mind today. And I refused to play him after he got a technical foul. And the technical foul was, just mouthing back to the other player. I don't necessarily understand, like trash talk happens, and it was right in front of, but I also don't understand why he's talking trash to a guy when we're playing and it's just a physical game. So some of that is just young and learning. Anyway, to the litany of issues there. I would love to say it was scheme. Early on, it was scheme, but in all candor, we identified the problem in the summer and said, "Hey, who do we have who just wakes up every day thinking, I got to get a rebound?" And we didn't have one, and that's on us in terms of recruiting. And then, our 2 best players, I thought Marcus Hall, he just, he had mono right before the year, and so he lost like 20 pounds. He's never really gotten his strength back. And I think he's trying with technique, and he's just getting thrown around. Anthony doesn't rebound, and I get it. Like, he's a scoring guard. That's not something he's naturally had to do. But with this group, unless I'm playing at the point, which I played him at the point some, he's got to rebound, and it's got to be a team collective thing. We got 20 minutes out of Isaiah Miranda. I think there was actually some very positive things there, but he got 1 rebound. Like, And I understand, like, Zay is a finesse big. He's an athlete, kind of rim protector. And, like, keep in mind, that's probably his 5th college game he's ever played. That's the most. So it's still kind of spinning for him. So we try and keep it really simple. But, again, not a natural rebounder. We tried, Momo Neki in the second half just because he's a really tough kid. His dad was a really good rebounder. We're playing him a little bit out of position as a big. And he didn't really, he scored a couple around the bucket, but he kind of struggles because that's, again, he's naturally more of a guard than a wing. So I think to answer your question in a more short form, some of it's personnel-based. It's not for lack of work. I mean, the reason our offense went from, the best offense in the league to whatever we were today is because all we've done is defense and rebounding. It's like all we do. And I think that's why I'm frustrated. It's not because, it is because of what's happening, the result, but I don't want to coach on results. I want to coach on process. And I got to tell you, like, Jordan McCabe did the scout today. It was really good. We spent extra time talking about it. But we told them that this game comes down to 2 things, right here and below the belt. And they had both, and we had none. And we're just going to have to find whomever it is that wants to compete when that ball gets thrown up. Because you're never going to win if you get, 22 offensive rebounds. What are we doing? And we're just searching. And, if you want to know why guys are getting taken out, they're getting taken out because they're not boxing out or they're not competing. There was a couple times we started sending guys more to the offensive boards. We were having trouble with our transition defense early on in the season. So we started, Dennis Harrington really started with a kind of a plan for how to offensive rebound. Well, the guys go in there, but then they're like, oh, I can't get it. I'm going to back out. Like, is that what they do? They take guys and they throw them out of the way. So, again, please don't anybody think that I'm being critical of Milwaukee. That's how you play. Okay? It's one of the things that frustrates you about officiating. Like, they call a couple touch fouls, and you're like, that's a foul, and there's no fouls in the basket. There just isn't. And they were men, and we were boys. We got punked. That's really what happened.
You mentioned Isaiah did play a ton of minutes tonight, even though he's not maybe your prototypical rebounder. Did he play a lot because you were hoping that 7'1" guy would be able to help at the rebounding, or was there something about tonight that you decided, okay, we're going to play him a lot?
No, Isaiah has a talent to be a starting center and be great. He had a lower body injury to start the year, and then there's some other little things that we had to kind of clean up, and he had to show that he was ready to play in practice, and he's been practicing really, really well and working really hard. And then, again, compound it with the fact that Mac Recchi and Roy Salka were below the level they had been playing, and it mandated that he played. So yeah, of course. We just thought, and we were, and again, I'm going to learn. I do actually learn from these things. I do take notes, and we're going to get better. And something I'm usually against we did tonight, which is we had planned, Jerry Smith is like a mentor coach, and, Jerry played for Rick Pitino at Louisville. And so we've been looking for a secondary defense, and we've worked a couple days on the 2-3 zone. We probably should, we're down 20. We should have taken a look at it in the second half to work on the slides. But our plan was, out of the first time out, hey, we're going to take a look at the zone and put Zay in there because just, again, 7'1", long wingspan. Let's make it easy on him, and just defend the rim, because that's how that zone is. It's the Syracuse, Louisville zone where it's really high and it funnels everything to him. And we just couldn't stabilize it because we had guys run around like their chicken's head cut off. It's like, it's not that hard. But I also have to process that, again, and I hate this. I hate when coaches did it when I was an analyst. But I am going to do it despite that, right? Marcus Hall's 19. Mac Recchi's a redshirt freshman. Royal Salka's a freshman. Miranda's, this is about his 6th college game ever. Jeremiah Johnson's a freshman. Ben Tweedy's a freshman. C.J. O'Hare's a freshman. Donovan Santor's a freshman. And, people wonder why everybody recruits the portal and grad transfers. And that's why. And, look, I give credit to Milwaukee. Like, you watch them in warm-ups and you're like, they're okay. But you watch every one of their games and they look the same. They have an identity, right? They're going to press and trap and be scrappy defensively, and then they're going to shoot it up and they're going to go get it. And they're going to fight you for it. And it's not always good enough, and some teams will match their physicality. And, we went from in the non-conference against mid-majors struggling to guard Princeton action to now it's been really 3 games on repeat. It's the same thing. So that's on me. I have to I have to continue to work and drill it, and I have to find guys that'll do it. And again, that's the other problem with like going to a zone, right? What's the problem with the zone? Can't rebound on it. But my point to our staff is, well, we don't rebound on a man-to-man, so what's the difference? Like, maybe we'll contest more shots. I don't know. But we are very much a work in progress. I would have thought, with everything that happened over the weekend, there would be some sort of relief to play. But if we're honest, we're a little screwed up right now. But nothing like, they're really good young men. Nothing like a win. Just need to win a game. And then maybe we'll win another one.
Coach,
Go ahead.
Coach, big picture, it's obviously only been a couple months here, but with the expectations and the energy and the attention placed on this program coming to the year, where would you assess where you're at, and did you have expectations of where you might be at this point? Like, are you taken by surprise by like the toughness aspect of it, maybe?
Yeah. I'm a little surprised at the toughness. I'm really surprised at our inefficiency on offense. But again, that's a little bit, but it's what you work on. I think that's the part that I'm surprised by. Like, we knew that we had some shortcomings based upon guys' health, when guys got here, what we could implement. We knew we had too many great kids and not enough junkyard dogs. But I'm surprised at our lack of offensive efficiency, and especially, we have some weaponry that's not playing great. And yeah, I'll give it up to Damon Archibald. Damon Archibald, he's a ball gentleman, my assistant. And I told him before the game, like, he has great instincts. And he has said for a long time, Coach, we got kids and they're just getting thrown around. And he's the guy who's always on the bag in practice, banging him on everything. And, we went through months where they're like complaining about Arch. And I was like, what are you complaining about? Like, that's what it's going to be like. And now they've gotten a lesson. So I think this is an interesting thing that I don't know if you guys care about. I'm big on coaching confidence, but I think I need to do a better job of coaching their confidence on defense, because we lack defensive confidence. And we're always the hitty, never the hitter. And I thought I really tried to motivate him, but then when you see the same thing on repeat, like, I got to do a better job of finding my balance and maintaining focus and positivity. So I'll get there, But anyway, to answer your question, this is why you got to schedule like everybody else does, a couple of D2s early. I know the league, and Julie was here today, and she's wonderful. But the league's like, you got these tiers on who to schedule, like nobody. Part of the reason I want to play better teams is like, it's 2 degrees outside, it's snowing. Like, I don't really like the idea of nobody coming in here and like, I always thought, like, what do we learn playing a game where we win by 20? But there's a methodology to it, and I'm going to have to adjust moving forward with the schedule. And I know that you sit there and you go like, well, Evansville's just okay and Campbell's just okay. It's like, yes, but every game on our schedule is a game that we can lose. And nobody else does that. And now you know why. So I've learned a lot. I've learned about people, about my own personal momentum, about calling timeouts, about what to work on, about how to handle players and how to coach different people differently. we're still kind of adjusting in terms of practice times for the rest, and for their strength. So we'll get it right. It's just a question of when, not if. But we are not where I thought we would be 11 games into my coaching career. We told the guys Monday. And it's interesting that none of them knew. I said, do you know when in an entire day, 24 hours, it is darkest? Like, none of them knew. I said, do you know when it's coldest during a day? None of them knew. I said, well, it's coldest and darkest right before the dawn. And I wanted December 5th, that's the Cleveland State game, to be our darkness before the dawn. And it's pretty dark right now outside in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and pretty cold. But tomorrow's a new day. We get on a plane and go to Santa Barbara. They're a good team. They're a very good team. Very well coached, and they've lost 2 in a row, and they've come off finals week, so they'll be rested and ready for us. And we'll have to have, Saturday the 14th be a new day. And maybe some sunshine, some vitamin D will help some of these guys figure out how to rebound, play defense. And again, I take full accountability. I got to find a group that's willing to do those things and stick with it through whatever inadequacies they have. You get to where you're like, okay, well, we're going to hold them accountable if they defend and don't defend and rebound. Well, then you start yanking guys, and you're like, wait a second, like now it's like a turnstile. So we'll learn, we'll adjust, and we'll get better. And again, I told the guys this, it's 21-35 tonight in terms of the attendance. I noticed this Saturday, nobody left. Nobody left. And, my guys are fighters. We're always going to compete and pressure and any guy that comes off the bench. But I will tell you that Green Bay, Wisconsin has legit basketball fans. They want this thing to be good. It's going to be good. It's just a process. And we all collectively have to learn and get better. But we're not where I want us to be.
Doug, do you have a good pulse on the locker room, and do you fear that if you don't, correct this ship and your guys turn it around, that they'll lose belief and things will spiral out?
It's a great question. One of the things that I learned a lot flying back with the guys from Indy. We really felt like we were playing good, and then we kind of got punched in the mouth, and we just couldn't get it back going, get our mojo together. And I think we talked a lot about this in the summer and early in the fall, is that when we're not playing well, we need to execute more finely. We need to run longer possessions. We need to have more patience, and we have less from some of our best players. Anyway, so on the way back, I was on a plane. We have these state-owned private planes that we flew back on, which is a great thing. It's one of the things that separates this university from others at our level, that we can fly in, fly out private. And it's a 9-seater. And I talked to the guys, and they really told me a lot, informed me a lot of things. So I learned a lot on that day. I think I had the pulse of the locker room. I think we lack some confidence, and we got to get it back.
Since we last talked,
Yeah.
Anthony has apologized for missing shoot around. Since Monday, how has his focus?
He's been on time.
Yeah. How has his focus been, and were you happy with his play tonight?
I didn't think he played particularly well, and I don't think he thought he played particularly well. And it's hard. If I'm honest, I think that part of there's a couple of things which have driven me crazy that he's done that I've really been harping with him on. But I don't think he's played all that well. The first half IUI was as good basketball as you can play for him. He took 5 shots, had 14 points, and everything was humming. It was great. But outside of that, he hasn't really played all that well in league play. And going back to the Campbell game, and I would have to tell you that I think it's a lot for him. I don't think that video got 2 million downloads, 2 million views. Like, it went viral. I mean, we're 2-8. This is not, and obviously I understand part of it is me, and part of it is the way I handle things. And It's just not usually done that way in college basketball these days. We're also scared of kids and holding them accountable. We think they're going to leave or not finish up or whatever. I just think it's a lot. And I think that, everybody says they want the attention. They want top of the scouting report. They want to be the leading scorer. They want all this stuff. And then you get it. And you're like, oh, my God. He's getting calls and texts from all kinds of people that are his friends again. Agents are coming out of the woodwork. People trying to help him with NIL. And he's called me and said, Coach, can you just help me? So I'm working with his dad and with a mentor who's a friend in Northern California, just to turn off your phone. Let's let those people handle that stuff. So his attitude's been great. He's been really focused in practice. I did not ask him to send that tweet. That was all Anthony. That's who he is. He's growing and learning to be a great man. But it's you ever seen the picture of a evolution of man? Like Cro-Magnon, and at the end you're Homo erectus. Is that what we are, right? Like you're standing up straight. He's not here, but he used to be here, right? So he's growing. And it's been a lot for him. It was a lot for me. There's a lot of stuff going on, right? And it was just a lot for me because you're so focused on just getting these guys better. And then all of a sudden that happens. And, it's just you and me talking in a press conference. I didn't think anything of it. And then next thing you know, it's the thing goes viral and every coach in America is texting me, great job. Yeah, well, we got our butts kicked, but, and then for him, I can't imagine what the phone looks like when there's 2 million downloads on his coach saying he's got to do better, And then he owned it, and it was great. But again, what he did great early in the year and in the fall and in the summer is if you've been to our campus in the summer, I challenge you to find more than 3 people walking together. It's beautiful, but there's no on-campus classes. So all he did was lock in and just hoop, 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 hoop. Couldn't get him out of the gym. In practice, hoop, 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 hoop. And I'm not saying he's not hooping, but it's been a lot for him. So he'll get it, he'll figure it out. But just imagine if last year you were at Langston, which I have lived in Oklahoma. I would challenge, most people in Oklahoma don't know where Langston is, right? It's 25 minutes from Stillwater. It's in the middle of nowhere. And you go from that to now all of a sudden a viral video of your coach calling you out. And it's a lot. So we had a great talk last night. We've had some great texts. I don't think he was himself tonight. Some of the bad habits came out, but I have no doubt that he'll figure his own stuff out. So the question is, can he have confidence in them? Can they have confidence in themselves? That's so much Milwaukee was just confident. They just were. They were sticking out their chest, they were talking trash, and they were throwing us around, and our guys looked like deer in the headlights. And that's coaching, that's leadership, and that's immaturity, and we got to get more mature. But for Anthony, he's been great. He's been on time. He's been attentive. He's trying to lead. He's trying to get better. We joke all the time, he struggles remembering plays. And so one time he sent us a play on a group chat. It was hey, we run that. But he's that's a big step for a coach. And you're guys are sending you plays. I like this, and here's why. So he's been great. And I have no doubt that he'll get back to being AR real soon. Okay?
Thank you guys.
Okay, you guys drive home safe.